So Rev is married to a woman called Strawberry, and Strawberry had a partnership, because I think she also does streaming, with a company called Makeship. And Makeship has suspended their relationship with her because of her association with Rev Says Is. In particular, they have these plushies. So Rev's character is a female, and that's the character. And this is the Strawberry plushies. That's his wife. And they suspended their relationship with her. I mean, they're selling his plushies as well, but I guess they're suspending that. Rev is vehemently pro Lolicon, and so is Strawberry. Unfortunately, this is another instance, and this is what pisses me off about Gator, who I'll talk about in a second. Rev says Des, and the Almighty Lolly all do. The Almighty Lolly in particular. Bro, your fucking name is the Almighty Lolly. That's your name. And this guy Rev also openly defends Lolicon. Like, that's a big part of his character and his politics on his stream. He has this libertarian mind about Lolicon. And they both have done this thing where they're very pro Lolicon. They reference Lolicon memes. They openly fawn over Lolicon characters that are VTubers. But then when you talk about Lolicons to them or see them discuss it, they go, yeah, I defend Lolicon and Lolly VTubers and Lolly in Japanese media, but people who are into Lolicon should have their hard drives checked. And it's like, how you can't have that both ways. And Kersha did the exact same thing, where it's like, I'll support all these things, but I'm suspicious of people into it. And that doesn't really make any fucking sense. I can understand not being, like, my position is that there shouldn't be legislation about it because I don't trust the Congress to make a law that can handle the issue appropriately without stifling freedom of speech in the process. I mean, I don't understand how you can be super pro Lolicon and then also suspicious of actual Lolicons. But here's an example of this. Strawberry says, I don't think Christians should consume any pornography. I don't think anyone should, to be honest. She said, that being said, you can still have the opinion that Lolicon isn't the same as CSAM while acknowledging that it's degeneracy. That is my current take, and I hope that helped explain things. Well, I mean, that's like a perfectly reasonable, that's my opinion. Like, I don't think that obviously it's not child pornography. There is no actual victim besides the viewer of the pornography. And I don't trust the government to regulate it effectively. But the people into it are fucking weird. And a 40-year-old man masturbating to Samma's tummy is probably attracted to children. But here's what she says just before, 4 years ago. Strawberry says, Lolly pussy hits different. Will I get canceled for this tweet? I hope so. These are incongruous things. How do you say Lolicons are weirdos and Lolly pussy hits different? These are the same person, just years apart. And I understand, like, I used to publicly defend Lolicon. You can find this on the forum. But I had, after my experiences with 8chan and 9chan, I realized that it is just straight up pedophiles that watch this shit. And my opinion changed because of that. What has happened between then and now to make her change her opinion? And Rev has the exact same take, and the Almighty Lolly has the exact same take, where they have no issue with the Lolly pussy hits different shit, but then also decry Lolicon as being degenerate. And here's Kersha, again, the exact same thing. As the brand risk being alluded to here, not only were the articles written pulled for libel, but all the sponsors who stuck with me made literal fuck tons of money. I am a golden goose for companies no longer willing to capitulate to manipulative freaks online. I'm sure Rev is the same way. And these people used to wielding this cancel culture power as a chokehold on any industry, any fandom, any company are positively flailing as they become impotent, as they have always should have been. Companies get to choose now. Do they actually want to make money and have people buy their products, or do they want to continue to be hostages in an ideological culture war? Will it be held to a higher and higher standard until the eventual turn on the Ouroboros? Kersha has, in private, directly told me that she thinks that Lolicon is degenerate. But every single time Lolicon gets brought up to her in any public context, you can clip her openly defending it, whether it be the HBO documentary, whether it be Sama, whether it be Rev Says Dessous or the Almighty Lolly. Like, any time that this happens, she straddles that line where it's like, sure, it's degenerate, but I fully support it. and more importantly, especially after the gem stream, it makes a fuck ton of money. And that's the real thing. Don't you want a fuck ton of money? well, you better support Lolicon. And it's like, I don't know, what is the cost of your soul? How much money for your immortal soul, Kirsty? Can I buy your immortal soul? Can I put it in a jar and put it on my desk and just ping the glass every so often and flick it like a fish in an aquarium? How much? Just give me a price. Because I'm constantly, that's what I mean by the gaslighting. It's like you, on one hand, you continuously denounce this shit, and then the other, you openly endorse it for cash. And it's so fucking hypocritical. Now, there is no person, by the way, more hypocritical in this issue than my dear friend, Brian Holloman, aka the GatorGamer. And in fact, speaking of our dear friends, we have a nice lineup that Gator posted for us on Zitter saying, I'm putting a team together. Now we got Pippa Pipkins, who is a Lolly avatar. We have Kesha, good friend of Pippa. I believe that's Shondo. I don't know who that is. It looks like Sonichu. It looks like Magi-chan or something. So we got the big four. We got Pippa Pipkins, Kesha, Shondo, and then Sonichu, Blue Sonichu, who collects toys of VTuber characters for whatever reason. So he says, my power level has increased to the point I can make my haters seethe about plushie collections Lamau. At the end of the day, all these people are more like Anna Valens than not. Maybe Horseshoe Theory was onto something. So if you think that this 38-year-old man collecting plushies of a little girl and Magi-chan is cringe, you are a tranny rapist, according to Brian Holloman, the GatorGamer. He says, fuck around, find out moment coming for Noel because he couldn't leave VTubers alone and stay in his own lane. This is him backing up the Almighty Lolly, because the Almighty Lolly is just going to epically fucking own me because I dared. My crime, I dared to talk about Saba's striptease for her viewers, her child character striptease. That was the bridge I crossed. And now I am the real pedophile. Here's a nice little of his Oshi, his number one. And this is my favorite thing. The AI generated this picture of him petting his Oshi. That's Kiki Pion Pion chat. It's a very important character in the Brian Holloman story. So the AI generated this lovely picture of him with Kiki Pion Pion, his little Oshi. Sailor then says, you watch VTubers who have pacifiers in their mouth. Now I want to show you this again. So we have it. That's Shondo, third from the left, between Magi-chan and Kesha. And then we have Shondo with a literal fucking pacifier in her mouth. And he responds to this and says, yes, actually. And Kosiki Bijou too. This is a pretty common VTuber thing. This is a pretty common VTuber thing. And he's right. Here is Kosiki Bijou. She has a 120,000 viewer video in YouTube Shorts that is Bibu calls us stinky for some shower motivation Hollow Live. There is a literal pacifier sucking VTuber that works for Hollow Live, the biggest English speaking VTuber agency that does YouTube short ASMR videos, calling you stinky to help you get motivated to take a shower. And Gator watches this. He watches a VTuber call him stinky so he can get motivated to wash himself. He's a 38-year-old man who watches a pacifier-sucking child call him stinky so he can clean himself. And then he tells me that I fucked around and found out because I made fun of this. Nigga, I don't give a fuck if these motherfuckers roll up on me with a 357 Magnum and kill me. I will talk about this until I am done, and I am far from done. I will continuously bring up the fact that you watch a goo goo gaga pacifier sucking child tell you to take a shower because you stink, and you watch this voluntarily and you pay money. Is this actually is this Magi-chan? I can't even tell. Is this Magi-chan? Does he have a plush doll? Gator, if you have a plush doll of Kosiki Bijou telling you that you're stinky, Please post it on Zitter. I'll look before the end of the stream. I'll put it up on a stream for you. I want to see Koseki Baiju's pacifier sucking plushie. And what's really crazy, the craziest fucking thing of all of this is that only a few years ago on the Anime Boomers podcast, and I watched this 11-minute long clip. This is Gator. This is how he did his setup. He put himself as the sexy Anchorman avatar. And then I actually kind of liked his setup where he had like the couch, and then it showed all the Discord avatars kind of positioned on the couch with a nice little CSS 3-dimensional rotation. It's actually a pretty decent setup for like a shitty YouTube stream. So we had a guest on. That's one of the Discord avatars on the couch, and the guest was doing an investigative report for his anime-related blog, and he was investigating Lolicon, and he had literally the exact same experience that I did, where he was looking into the Lolicon stuff, and he ended up on a Lolicon community. And on this community, he realized, or was invited to at some point, to a hidden board on the Lolicon community. And he realized that they were literal pedophiles sharing literal child pornography. They would masturbate to the little anime girls, and then they would masturbate to the little girls. And they had to make sure that you were an actual OG lolly pussy hits different type of poonhound before they invited you to the secret child pornography board. Gator interviewed a guy that did this, and he said that he gave up after that because he was like, I don't want to deal with this. He just gave up on his article after he found this out. He's like, I'm done. I don't want to talk about Lolicon anymore. And he talked to Gator about it, and Gator agreed with him vehemently and said, it is disgusting. It is degenerate. I don't support this. I don't endorse this. And that was always his position. I remember the GatorGamer on the Ralph Retort condemning the Lolicons. He had the typical cool guy anime interests with like JoJo and Cowboy Bebop and Dragon Ball Z and all the usual suspects when you say that anime's fucking gay and full of little kids sucking on pacifiers. They go, that's his take for years, right? And then he has guys on the Anime Boomer podcast to talk about how they did an investigative report and found that the Lolicons in their secret communities were sharing child pornography. And Gator says, yeah, that's all fucking gross. And then merely a few years later, stinky, Brian Holloman, stinky, go take a shower, goo goo gaga, Brian Holloman, take a shower, you stinky boy, take shower. What happened? What the fuck happened? I even asked this in the thread. I'm like, is this the VTuber pipeline? Is this what happens, that you go from like, I would never watch an anime less masculine than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to goo goo gaga, I'm stinky? Like, is that what happens? Does it only take like 4 years and VTuber consumption to get from point A to point B? I desperately want to believe that there are not hundreds of thousands of people jerking off to kids with pacifiers in their mouths. That the VTuber community is not just this, that not every anime freak is going to be masturbating to this shit and collecting plushies of children. I don't want to believe that. I want to believe in the good of humanity, chat. But how the fuck did Gator? Gator was like normal. He was like a weeb. Yeah, he was fat. He worked at Subway. May was probably the best he would have ever had. But he was like normal. Medicare was normal. What the fuck happened? I need to know. I need a government study or funded study for $100 million to figure out what the fuck is happening, that the GatorGamer is watching Goo Goo Gaga go take a shower videos on YouTube. I need to know what the fuck. This is more urgent than vaccines causing autism or whatever the fuck. I need to know. This is a medical crisis. This is a medical fucking crisis, okay? And in case you're wondering, this is the Kiki Pompon, different from the Koseki Baiju. Let's clear this up. This is Kiki Pompon. He went to go see Kiki Pompon in person. Let's not forget this. That's his Oshi. He says he loves her so much, and she introduced him to Hexa, and it was extremely cringe. But he went there in fucking person to meet Kiki Pompon, and then I found this video in June last year. It's been deleted. It's been privated. Thankfully, I'm a psychotic freak and I archive everything. So I have an archive of this video that Kiki Pompon tried to remove from the fucking internet. And I have a little clip for you that I want to play for you of Kiki Pompon, okay?
Okay, Lolicon, obviously, tag I look for. Most stuff I like is got Lolicon in it. I think it's the best tag out there probably. I put it at number 1 probably in my tags. Because I am a big self-inserter. I like to self-insert a lot, and I think there's nothing better than seeing something with a lolly in it. I am more of Mr. Lolliconer than like a what's it called, like a toddler corner. I don't know when it. I know it's like weird to put that in there or just specify, but like when they look like way too young. I mean, if I'm in a certain mood, I'll really like it. And I'll self-insert like most of the time. I'll be like, I don't know. I mostly go for the ones where they just look little. You know what I mean? But not like too little. But not like. But I don't know. They need to have no womanly features at all. Like they can't have hips or anything. I need them to be small.